Now we're getting back into scripts, so something that we, again, should be familiar with at this point. However, the box system categorizes it in a little bit of a different way. Basically, they say script typefaces are ones that are made to imitate the qualities of handwritten text, distinctly when all of the characters flow evenly and are attached to a certain degree. So basically following the rules of cursive lettering. Arrow light is the example I used here. Again, the biggest distinction in script typefaces in the Vox system is just attaching all of the letter forms, or at the very least most of the letter forms, in a cursive free-flowing feel. And now we're into graphic. This is kind of where the Vox system ends. So there were a total of 9 different classifications we discovered, and graphic is the end of the road for us. Basically, this is also the most widely open and open to interpretation system as well. Basically, it is really just everything that we haven't covered from the Vox system gets thrown into graphic. It is, to a certain degree, you can say, provides direct connection to the subject or the material that you're designing for. Some will say that it can be considered an image completely in its own right. Really, though, just when there has been so much stylistic and additional changes to the style of a typeface that it really can't get covered in any of the other traditional classifications. That's the way I would like to see it. So a huge amount of typefaces made from the computer are going to find themselves in the graphic spectrum. Any grunge typefaces are going to be considered graphic. All sorts of those connections. Basically anything that doesn't make it into our other 8 Vox system classifications get thrown into a graphic typeface. So you see I have a couple here just because, again, this is like practically an endless classification into itself. So I used curly stars, just a super goofy typeface for the title, and I used leathery hard for the bottom. Almost kind of a childish font to a certain degree, but you get the idea. So graphic is basically everything else we covered. If it doesn't make it into any of those classifications, into your glyphic, into your lineal, into your slab, it just gets tossed into graphic. So now that we've covered these 2 separate classification types, really the goal here is to kind of use them interchangeably, if you will, and use them hand in hand. Because like you saw firsthand while we were going through these different classification types, really, even though sans serif can be classified as both sans serif and lineal, they're both trying to describe the same thing. So it's good to have an understanding of both of these. I hear them used interchangeably quite often. It's not like one guy is going to be strict traditional classification types and he's just not going to even understand the box system. If he hears lineal, it's not like it's going to go in one ear right out the other. Most professional designers are going to have a good understanding of both. They're going to use them interchangeably because there are circumstances where it's going to be helpful for you to be able to use both of these systems to classify type and just to be able to have that much of a clearer picture of what you're expecting as the end result. So after this video, we're going to have a real quick recap of all of these classification systems, including the Frutiger scale, and when all that is said and done, we're going to finish off this particular section of lectures with a real quick recap quiz. So should be a good refresher just to make sure you're walking away with all of these classifications. Obviously there was a lot of them in the end, so look forward to seeing you guys there.